Thanks for joining me today. Welcome to my channel. My name is Evan and I'm a personal trainer. Now, the reason why I wanted to start this channel is because I just wanted to share what I've learned on my own health and fitness journey of 15 years at the point of this video and give it to you guys. I've been a trainer for 7 years and worked out for 15. Along the way of whether it would be working out myself or just my own process or helping somebody else with their process, I feel like that I've accumulated some information that can be helpful to those who are looking to better their health and better their physiques if they want to. So I'm pushing out content that is to help you with your health, not only the physical but the mental health as well. I think that those two are very important and go together. I've had my own ups and downs, and hopefully with some of this information that I wish that I had when I first started out can help you along your journey wherever you are in that journey. So that is the reason why I wanted to start this channel, and hopefully you get something from it. Anyways, let's go ahead and just jump on into the topic today, which is calories and macronutrients. That may seem like a boring title, a boring topic, but granted, I think that we should first start with the basics of nutrition, which can be broken down to calories and macronutrients. Granted, this is something that when I learned about this, it actually really helped me with my own progress, and I think that can be a benefit to you. So let's jump on in. Now, calories. Calories, by definition, is just a unit of energy. So all foods have calories in them, and we eat food in order to survive. So we need energy, we need calories in order to survive, to function properly, to perform well in whatever we do. Now, there is sometimes a discrepancy of how much calories that we consume. Sometimes we overestimate or severely underestimate how much we're eating, depending on what goal we're trying to go for. So let's just say that if you want to maintain how you are right now, if you want to maintain your body weight, that is something where you just want to make sure that pretty much you're eating the same, but you want to make sure that your calorie intake matches calorie output, right? So food that you eat and the amount of activity that you do are at the same level, okay? Now, a lot of people, sometimes they overestimate how much they work, how much they move. So they think that they're up here when really they actually might be down here. And they are eating this amount of calories, and so their weight goes up. If you want to lose weight, you want to be in a caloric deficit. So calorie deficit, what does that mean? So that means that you are consuming less calories than you are with the the energy output. So you are moving more than you are eating. Now, a great way to lose weight is that you don't need to have to do like a hard aggressive cut to reach that certain deficit in order to get to your goal weight. What I like to do, just increase your activity level by a little bit, as well as decreasing your calorie intake by a little bit, so that you reach that same amount of deficit without having to do drastic high amounts of exercise or drastic cut in food. We're looking for sustainability as far as with something that's going to be a little bit more healthy for your body, as well just for your mindset. That is the calorie calorie deficit. Now, on the other end, if you want to gain weight, if you're looking to bulk up or gain some muscle mass, or just trying to gain weight to be in a healthier weight range, right? You want to make sure that you are consuming more than you are moving, right? So you want to make sure that you are having more calories than you usually move in order to get to that weight that you're trying to get to. So that is kind of like a calorie breakdown as far as how much you should have and why we need to know about calories. Now, the next thing is macronutrients. Now, macronutrients are just all types of food that make up calories and can actually be divided into 3 groups. So you have your proteins, you have your carbohydrates, and you have your fats. Each are very important in order for our bodies to function properly. So let's go ahead and jump into the protein. Proteins are made up of amino acids. Our bodies need amino acids to function properly. Some of those functions are to, recover from activity, as well as grow and build lean muscle tissue. It is important that we have this macronutrient in our diet, whether we're trying to gain muscle mass or lose weight. Now, the reason for that being is that when you're trying to gain muscle, you're going to need to have more protein in your diet, just because, again, it is part of the building blocks to help actually build and repair the damaged muscle tissue that you get from something like resistance training. As far as with losing weight, now it's really important actually to have protein in your diet, because when you're in a calorie deficit and we're trying to lose body fat, now our bodies are stubborn and the body fat is our last resort. So we'll actually, if we're not eating properly and we're eating a lot less than what we usually do, our bodies will catabolize our muscle tissue before our fat storage, because our fat storage is our last resort. So in order to kind of stop that, or to the least amount of muscle tissue to be lost as possible, is to make sure that you have a sufficient amount of protein in your diet, because we need those aminos to help us maintain as much muscle as possible. Another thing too is that there's this stigma that I hear mostly from women, is that protein makes you fat. Now that is untrue. That is not true at all. The reason being is that protein is very satiating, and it's also not as calorically dense as fats, another macronutrient. Now, for every 1 gram of protein, you'll have 4 calories from that 1 gram. It's a little bit lower caloric density, as well as it's a lot more satiating, meaning you'll be a lot more full while you eat it. So when people see how much protein that they actually should eat and get a little overwhelmed with how much protein that they are supposed to eat because they're nowhere near that number, once you start emphasizing and putting in protein first, you're actually going to be a lot fuller from that food, from that meal, because you're having a little bit more protein, and it's going to be a little bit less calories depending on what you pair with it. But it is lower in calorie density, keeps you fuller, so that it'll make it easier for you to lose weight without feeling too hungry. Another thing to note is that protein can't be stored like carbs and fats can. So that's why it's a little bit more important to get an adequate amount in your body, because we're always losing a little bit of amino acids. So we want to constantly be replenishing that. That's why it's important to get an adequate amount. And now the question is, Evan, what is an adequate amount of protein? An adequate amount, I like to stay in that range of anywhere from 0.8 to 1.2. For certain individuals, it may be different depending on their lifestyle and depending on if they're an athlete or not. There are other variables, but for a general rule of thumb, 0.8 to 1.2 should be a sufficient amount for you. Anyways, the next macronutrient that is up on our list is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. It's funny because there was a point in time where I was no carbs or very low carb in my diet, because my goal was I want to be shredded year round. I felt like that having too much carbs will make you fat. But carbs are by no means evil. Actually, carbs are very important. We definitely need carbs. Carbs are made out of glucose, which is what we need in order to live. Now, it's a great energy source, and it's actually the energy source that our bodies prefer. Our bodies thrive best on carbs, and you should be having more carbs if you're an athlete, especially if you're an endurance athlete. You're gonna need a lot more glucose than, say, somebody who's sedentary. So most of the time, we want slower digesting, higher fiber carbohydrates. That is something that we want to have most of the time. We want to make sure that we're having a little bit more fiber in our diets as well. It's easy to get these types of carbs by choosing a wide selected, diverse, whole, less processed food. Fruits and root vegetables, whole grains, beans, and legumes. Occasionally, you want a faster digesting, lower fiber carbohydrate. These work great particularly for athletes or those who are looking to gain weight. Just like protein, carbs are a lower density food group compared to the other macronutrients. For every 1 gram of carbs, you'll get 4 calories, just like protein. Carbs and protein are lower on the caloric density, fats are. And therefore, we can have a little bit more carbs than we can fat as far as when it comes to grams. And yeah, let's actually go ahead and the macronutrient of fats. Sources of fats and reasons why we need to eat them or actually consume them and have them in our diet is that with fats are very important for us as well, as far as with how much fats you should have. If you're going off of a balanced diet, it should be a smaller amount of your percentage of your nutritional requirement. The reason being is because fats are a calorically dense food, meaning that for 1 gram of fat, you have 9 calories, a lot larger than the carbs and the protein. That just means that it is a energy dense food. It actually has the most energy in a macronutrient out of the 3. It's good for us, but we don't need to have nearly as much based off of a balanced diet. If you're going on a keto diet, that's a different story. What are some benefits of having fats in your diet? Help make and balance your hormones and your hormone levels. It does form our cell membranes, which is important. It forms our brain and our nervous system as well. It also helps transport our fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. And another important thing too is it actually helps us provide with fatty acids that we don't produce ourselves, which are omega-3s and omega-6 fatty acids. And obviously, if you're having too much of one or the other macronutrient in utter excess, then yeah, you're gonna run into some problems. But again, it's all about balance, making sure that you're having a sufficient amount of each macronutrient in order to function and thrive. So that is it for the video today. I'm also gonna get a workout in, and I'm gonna show you that as well. All right, guys, back with another workout, another full body workout. I like to start all my workouts out with a 7-minute warm-up, and since I have an air bike in the garage, that is the warm-up that I like to use. The first set of exercises is actually a superset. Now I'm doing full body, but I want to emphasize on the back today, so therefore I'm actually putting that at the front of my workouts, or at the beginning. And the dumbbell rows, so I'm going to be going a little bit heavier, doing 4 sets of 10. And then I'm following it up with banded rows, so 4 sets of 15. Now the banded rows I think are a great complement to a heavier dumbbell row because just the resistance is different. Obviously it's going to be a little bit lighter. I can do a little bit more reps with the bands than I can with the dumbbell or with any type of weight, so therefore I think it's a good little complement to add to it. Now the second superset that I have in this workout is the floor press. Now as you saw from the last video, I like doing the floor press for a couple different reasons, but this is great, especially if you don't have strong or stable shoulders, or if you have a history of shoulder injuries. This is a great way to just keep your shoulders stabilized as well while you're doing a press movement, and it's a great alternative if you don't have a bench with the weights. Oh, I need to keep my butt down, guys. I need to hold myself accountable, lower the weight, and focus on that form. All right. Now the second part of this superset is the push-ups. And with the push-ups, I really try to make sure that I focus on squeezing the glutes and bracing the core to keep my body flat while I'm doing this movement. Then what I want to focus on is making sure that I'm keeping tension on the way down and then squeezing the chest on the way up while keeping my shoulder blades back. Now the box squat. Box squat, the stand and load exercise. I like doing the box squat. It was just a kind of a little tap and go. At this point in the workout, I was starting to get fatigued, but this is just a great movement. You gotta get some squats in your workouts if you're doing a full body. Obviously, there's a lot of different variations, and that's what I was going for. Now, the second movement, the hinge movement of the full body, is the dumbbell RDL. So what I really enjoy about this exercise is that it's just a great posterior chain exercise, meaning that it's hitting all of the backside. So your hamstrings, your glutes, and your back. If you notice, I make sure that I'm keeping my back flat as I push my butt back to create a hinge at the hips. What really helps me is to engage my lats and making sure that my back stays flat. All right, so the finisher is the expanded face pulls. I really love doing these exercises and putting them into my routine. It's just great for posture as well as rear delt and rotator cuff health. So this is just high repetitions is all you need. You don't need to like go crazy with the weight or resistance. Again, that should be fine. And this is the full body workout, guys. So if you liked it and you have some of this equipment, go ahead and give it a try. Make sure that it's you start light with some good form. That is it. That's the video. Thank you again for joining me. I really hope that this information was helpful and informational. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you can, if you liked it, like the video, and also just comment down below to let me know what you thought about it, as well as if there are other topics that you want me to talk about. Anyways, thank you, and I will see you in the next one.